Hi, everyone. I realize I sit between you and the end of the day, so I promise I'll keep my remarks brief. I just want to say how much gratitude I have to be able to join you today on the unceded and traditional territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. And just a huge thank you again to the Satsuu Stalkaya who welcomed us in such a good way. It's interesting, when Allison was speaking this morning, the first thing that came to mind is about 9 years ago, I was in a hospital bed having just given birth to my first and only son. And about, within 12 hours after that experience, a doctor came in with her research coordinator and asked me if I wanted to participate in a year-long study with my newborn. It would require 2 visits a month to the hospital, which is about 45 minutes away from my home. And I remember, 12 hours after having birth at 5 a.m., thinking to myself, as a researcher, I should probably say yes. But as a new mom who has no idea what the next 2 minutes, let alone 12 months, are going to look like, absolutely not. But the reason why I think about that is now we think 9 years later and how much has changed. I think, as Jane said, the future is now. Technology is different. The way we conceptualize trials is different. We have different access points. And so that's really exciting to think about. But it's not just about changing methods. It's not just changing the approaches, nor the technology, or as Kendall has informed us, the hash browns of research. It really is kind of reflecting on what Dr. Bingham brought to us when we think about the harm research has caused, and it's about changing our culture for research, decolonizing research processes. To Jim's point, thinking about the bias we often bring to the research table. So it's a big change, and I think some of these conversations here really start that. This community here embraces it, so how do we continue to expand that? And that gets to why I'm so excited to be part of Health Research BC and to be able to work alongside Allison and others in this room, is that our commitment as an organization is really about building the research talent, and that's inclusive of the patient partners that partner and sit at our research tables. It's about changing the research processes, and I see Sarah Bennett here from Research Ethics. It's about the clinical trials management system that Mark was part of, and a number of you enable in your own systems of practice. This collective approach really helps us to mobilize the knowledge that's being generated in this province, which is pretty special, and addressing the priorities to the people who live here in British Columbia. So I'm going to close on that with just a huge thank you to everyone who joined, both in this room and virtually, to Allison, to Jean, to Rishi, to Rachel, to Nian. I know I'm probably missing someone, others in the comms team that help support this environment today. And I know I'm going to hand it over to Jean, who's going to get all the other thank yous that I certainly missed. But again, I hope everyone has safe travels home. And again, thank you for your time and the great discussion today. All the best.
Okay, all this talk about food's making me really hungry. Eggs, bacon, hash browns, cake, lots of cake, no sprinkles. Okay, I believe we've learned a great deal from all of the groups in our BC clinical trials ecosystem, researchers, research teams, patients, participants, vendors, lots of new ways that we can approach accessibility. The new regulations and guidance from ICH and WHO endorse what has been presented today on special population, ways to remove barriers, new models and tools, cultural safety, decentralized clinical trials, clinical trial methods, and of course the change process. We're going to be sending out an evaluation form sometime tomorrow, noonish, and we'd really appreciate your feedback. It's also the way for you to get your certificate for those of you that have professional associations. I'd like to thank, I have a big long list of thank yous here. Thank you to all of our speakers, our moderators, and some of you traveled far, and we very much appreciate that you came this way to talk to us. Thank you to all our support vendors. I'm going to get this right now. Satsuu Stalkaya, the Coastal Wolf Pack, that was fantastic. The staff, administration, and AV team back there from Robert Lee Alumni Center. Everybody give a wave to the Groves Great Bays back there. Our alumni sponsor, the Nest Catering. What fabulous food we had today. The photographer, Raymond Chu. Thank you, Raymond. Okay, and we'd like to also express my gratitude to my co-host Allison Orth over there in the green, and also to the wonderful Clinical Trials BC team and the Research Ethics BC team members who assisted in organizing. Nando back there, Tatiana Kawakami over here. She's our new Manager of Operations at Clinical Trials BC. Hannah Jones Erickson, Manager of Research Ethics BC. Kyla Bonnycastle, I've only just met this morning, and she's our brand new Administration Coordinator somewhere here. First day, what a shock, eh? And also Gabby Resnick from Reach BC, and Ashling Quinley, wherever you are. Okay, I'd like to also special thanks to our land hosts, the hospitality of the Musqueam Nation today. But most of all, I'd like to also thank the person who actually put this all together. Behind the scenes, you see us up here on stage, but the person who actually put this whole thing together, please take a bow, Rishi Sani. There's still time to tweet at Clin Trials. It's Clin Trials, not the whole clinical trials, just Clin Trials, and use the hashtag CTBC 2023. And also, if you have some spare time, could do 2 more things, maybe 3. 1, you could visit the REACH booth. It's still open. You could also go visit the support unit booth. And if you feel so compelled, there is a desperate blood drive next door at the Nest. We're short on blood for this coming month, and anybody who feels like rolling up their sleeve, apparently they're taking drop-ins right now. They sent that message over because they heard that we were healthcare people over here. Okay, it's really important, especially if you're O negative. Okay. Good night, everybody from Clinical Trials BC. Thank you for attending this event, and safe travels home, everybody.